Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm Joy, and this is the NFL Pick Ems Versus for Week 3. Once again, as always, I am joined by my good friend Steve.
Hey, Joy. What can you say about a crappy week we had last week?
It was horrible. It was absolutely a disaster. For a lot of us, to be fair. Like, not many of us actually did well. But we do have, because of how incredibly messed up the week was, a lot of changes in our standings. So, without any further ado, let's take a look at our stats. So, up in first place now, we have Draz with 22-10. He had an 11-5 record for week 2, which was insane. Yeah, definitely. And then next up, tied are SDS and Buff with 19-13. And then myself, John, Papa Agron, and Beegers are at 18-14. Then Steve and Savage Owl are tied at 17-15. Rev has 16-16, and Troll has 13-19. And then, for our alone games, we have a record now of 3-4, because Savage Owl took the Falcons to win, and they actually did. And he was the only person who did, so good on you. And then our unanimous decisions have fallen to a record of 2-2, because of the Ravens and the 49ers both losing.
True.
Shocking, honestly. So, I guess we have to go ahead and get started on our recap of week 2.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, where exactly do we want to start with our game of the week? Because there was a lot of a mess there, but...
True. Yeah, I don't know what to do for games of the week there, because I would have to say it has to be the Chiefs' close win there against the Bengals. There be mine there.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. That was pretty much what I was thinking for game of the week as well. The controversial refs, those aside, it was a fantastic game to watch from beginning to end. The Chiefs and the Bengals are always like weird rivals, even though they're from completely different divisions, but they always seem to find a way to make it a thrilling game.
Yeah.
The controversial defensive pass interference at the end of the game was pass interference. There is no buts about that. He definitely got to the receiver before the ball did, ran through him, so that's kind of textbook pass interference there.
True.
That being said, there was holding penalties during that play as well. Kansas City was holding Cincinnati. That wasn't called. But earlier in the game, the Bengals were holding Kansas City, and that wasn't called. So the overall officiating was just a mess in general. And in my opinion, the reason that the Bengals lost that game was because of Ja'Marr Chase. They had a chance to put the game away, at least being within field goal range, right? And when you have a kicker like Evan McPherson, you're pretty much golden to get that. And he had an absolutely bonehead, unsportsmanlike conduct penalty because he got fussy over what he thought was a hip drop tackle or a face mask or something. It was a clean hit. I watched the footage back again. People are calling him a diva for it, but it was not a hip drop. It was not a face mask. And it got so bad that Joe Burrow actually had to physically shove him away from the referee before it got worse. So that's kind of like my sentiment on that game. It was a great game. Ja'Marr Chase cost the Bengals that game, in my opinion. And the refs are always gonna mess stuff up. That's kind of their thing. That was pretty much like the only thing that I took away from the week, because honestly, everything else was just so bad. Like, I have my commentary notes in the document, and I have regret / disappointment of the week just being everything. Yeah, literally everything was a disappointment.
Yeah, that covers all your bases.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I guess we can try to like pin something down, like one thing in particular that was disappointing. For me, I have one, if you want me to go ahead and go first.
Okay.
I will go ahead and take, once again, Will Levis.
True.
He did the thing again, where he turned the ball over and just kind of laid there, staring at where the ball was going without actually doing anything about it. So that was rather disappointing. And the fumble that he did, he tripped and basically fumbled himself. Nobody even hit him. He was just in midair and threw the ball in front of him. So he really needs to simmer down and figure things out. But his coach is not helping, because his coach said that he's a grown man who knows what he needs to do, and it was a stupid decision. And I'm like, well, you're not really helping kind of develop him, Brian. So it's kind of on you, in a way. But that's mine. So what would you have as your regret / disappointment?
Okay, my regret, I'm going to have to say not taking the Saints there against the Cowboys there. I was so hyped there about the Cowboys, thinking they were going to go in the home stadium and romp all over the Saints there, not realizing the power of Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara there.
Yeah, that was quite the game.
I would say for my disappointment there, I would have to say Saquon Barkley dropping that ball late in the game in the fourth quarter against the Falcons. That's like giving the Falcons extra timeout.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, for me, I've been seeing a lot of yelling at the Eagles for choosing to throw. And I will say, electing to throw on third down is definitely questionable when you're in that kind of position. But let's not discredit Kirk's game-winning drive either, because that was a heck of a drive.
Yeah.
So, should he have even had a chance at it? No, because the Eagles were stupid. But facts are, he had the chance at it, and he had a really good game-winning drive. He was clicking on all cylinders, and they, the better team won that night, even if it was just by 1 point.
Sure.
It was amazing. And actually, my shock of the week was going to be the Saints and the Cowboys. That was definitely a shock. Not so much that they won, but that they upset the Cowboys in Jerry World on their home opener. That was where I was surprised. Honestly, they so thrust their will upon Dallas. It was really fun to see, but it was also really strange.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, I guess that kind of does it. We were kind of off format for this week, but honestly, when everything goes wrong, it's kind of hard to format how you're going to do things.
True.
So let's just push week 2 in the rearview mirror and focus on this potentially very scary week 3. Because I don't know about you, but I'm kind of scared for the week.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games I can see going either way. I made some questionable decisions in my own opinion. So let's give this a look and see how we do.
Here we go.
So first game up, we have a division rivalry battle on Thursday night when the Patriots visit the Jets.
Yeah, but as we start off with, let's give New England credit there for hanging in the game there, but fortunately they came up short in overtime against the Seahawks there.
Yeah, definitely though give them the credit because they are so much better than they were last year. And I think that, the new coach is really kind of giving some extra life.
And obviously for the Jets, they're never count out Aaron Rodgers there. Sorry to say that, Joy.
Again, I I think that the fact that they only won by a singular score and they didn't dominate Tennessee,
True.
again, Will Levis lost that game more than Aaron Rodgers won that game, in my opinion.
Okay.
I'm not going to discount his ability on the field, but I will say that had it not been for the less than stellar play on the other side, I think Tennessee would have kind of had that game kind of clinched.
But for me there, I'm going to go with the Jets at home to beat the Patriots there.
I should. That would be the smart thing to do. But I'm not gonna. Because I believe in the Patriots. They're going places. I think that they have great potential. I think that the Jets are lucky and overrated. And I think that anything can happen in division games. And I can't really make myself go with Aaron Rodgers. So, first game up, first split. This is not surprising at all.
And obviously, you're picking this game out of spite.
Yeah, I would say that's probably a good spite pick. Anything anti-Rodgers is usually spite. Alright, then moving on, we've got what should be a gimme, but you never know. The Giants at the Browns.
Yeah, obviously these are two teams that are fighting in the cellars of their division there.
Yeah, they're definitely struggling so far. I mean, to be fair, again, it's only been 2 weeks, so it's kind of hard to judge the whole season, but yeah, it's not looking good.
Yeah, obviously with the Giants there, Danny Dimes doesn't have his favorite running back in Saquon Barkley there, so that's a chink in the armor.
A little bit, but I mean, they do have Devin Singletary, who, might not be the same production level of Saquon, but he's done fairly well so far.
Okay. And obviously with the Browns there, we don't know how Deshaun Watson does in the major games there.
Not well, in my opinion. My only concern with this game, honestly, is seeing that Myles Garrett was listed as questionable. But, I mean, assuming that he's good to go, per the usual with these fantasy football injuries and reports, I'm definitely taking the Browns in this one just because it's the Giants.
100% agree there.
Yeah, so that was kind of easy. I hope that the Giants win because I think it'd be hilarious, but also no. Alright, next up we have the Titans hosting the Packers. Malik Willis revenge game.
True, there.
That's going to be fun.
Did you see what happened last week there in the Packer game there? During one play?
Was that when Josh Jacobs threw up?
Yep.
He threw up and they still won.
Yeah, and
right.
Malik Willis decided instead of throwing the ball there, he would keep it for himself there because nobody would want to have the center's spiel on it there.
Wow. Yeah.
After that play, I'm sure Malik Willis probably went for a bottle of hand sanitizer.
Yeah. Good on you for taking the hit. As far as that goes, for your teammates, that shows a certain level of maturity that not a lot of quarterbacks and players would have, because they're a lot more selfish when that kind of thing is concerned. So good on Willis, honestly.
Sure. Yeah. But I saw this afternoon there that Jordan Love was taking reps there. I doubt he'll be playing on Sunday there, but
yeah, I know.
I'm sure it'll probably be another week or two before he comes back.
Yeah, I don't see him fully suiting up until week 5 or 6. 6 is probably more on the low end for me.
True.
But, I mean, if they can fast track it and he can show up next week, kudos. I don't see him playing this week. I think it's way too early.
No.
But, you know, the fact that he's already taking reps and practicing is a very good sign.
Yeah, and obviously with the Titans, they're pretty much going downhill this season. Hey, Dino.
Hello, Dino. You are just very active tonight, aren't you? You were sleeping when I started. My gosh.
Yeah.
Do you just disagree with the Titans too? Because every time we mention the Titans, you start throwing a fit.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me, I'm not happy with Will Levis right now either. I'm trying to like him, and he's just telling me no at every turn.
Yeah. But for me there, I'm going to go with the Packers on the road and for Malik Willis to get the revenge against his former team.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on that one. Unfortunately, I'm usually FTP, but there's two main reasons that I'm doing this. One, Malik Willis' revenge makes a lot of sense. And two, I'm kind of trying a strategy with Will Levis where if I kind of look the other way, forget he exists and whatever, maybe he'll start doing well. You know, it's kind of like that toddler thing where if I don't pay attention to you, you'll simmer down. So that's kind of what I'm going to try with him, is I'm not going to follow you, like you, praise you. Maybe now you'll play better. Because, my curse is legit. So, reverse psychology.
There you go.
Alright, next up, in a game that I did not write in my document, but I have in my sheet, this just shows how much I blocked this out. We have the Bears and the Colts.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously Caleb Williams showed a little heart there against the Texans there, but wasn't enough there, obviously.
Yeah, he showed heart, but not a lot in the way of skill. So, heart's only going to get you so far. I mean, you have to have heart, of course. I'm a big, Shane Falco fan from the Replacements. So you have to have heart. If you don't have heart, you're not going to go far. But you also have to have the ability and the drive to kind of go hand in hand with that. So that is where I think he stumbles. But I mean, once again, the defense did keep them in the game. I mean, they lost 19-13, and so they ended up keeping CJ Stroud under 20, which was very nice. So their defense is legit. And then on the Colts side, that was actually my regret of the week, was going with the Colts over the Packers, because I knew that the Colts' run defense was not going to be good. And I went with them anyway, and the next thing you know, Jacobs and Malik Willis kind of destroyed them on the ground. So that was kind of all I really see out of the Colts, is Anthony Richardson is not playing optimally, and their run defense is kind of trash.
Sure. Yeah. But for me there, I'm going to make you mad by saying this. I'm going with the Bears on the road to beat the Colts.
No, it's fine, because unfortunately, I'm in agreement with you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and here's why. The Colts' run defense, as I just stated, is not good. And the Bears have a decent offensive line in comparison. They have DeAndre Swift, and Caleb Williams proved that he is similar to Justin Fields on the ground. And so, and in the air, to be fair. But he's going to run. I think that should be their game plan. And if they try to scheme him inside the pocket, they're foolish. Because this is where you can really attack the Colts, is through the run game. And so they need to do some wildcat options with Swift, a lot of handoffs, get Caleb Williams loose and let him run. Then he can have himself a standout game. But until then he's just not going to perform very well. But I'm taking the Bears in this one on the road just because of the Colts' defense and how subpar they are.
Sure.
That might shock some of you, but I did. Alright, but staying in the north now, we have the Vikings hosting the Texans. The Vikings are very, very impressive this year, to be fair. And so I expect this to be a sleeper game. It's going to be very fun.
Yeah, it will be, in my opinion, there, because obviously these are two good quarterbacks in C.J. Stroud, and surprisingly, they're what's the name of the Vikings quarterback there?
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold there. Yeah.
Now, I will say, though, I don't really know if Sam Darnold is really doing extremely well, or if last week when they beat up on the 49ers, it was because he had the extra motivation because they cut him last year. Because he was the backup in San Francisco behind Brock Purdy last year when they, because I believe it was him versus Carson Wentz for the Rams at the end of the year. I remember watching that game and being mad at how it ended because somebody fumbled when they shouldn't have, and I was livid over that game. Yeah. But anyway, I think that he played as well as he did for the revenge, because he even was quoted with saying, like, you shouldn't have bleeping cut me. So he just had extra motivation for that team in particular. So I don't know how he'll fare against a team that he doesn't have pure hatred in his heart for.
True. And obviously they might not have Justin Jefferson for a few weeks there because of his injury.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That changes some things. Let me take a quick look at that, because I was actually unaware of that.
Yeah.
All right, well, he participated in the walkthrough, and he's making progress towards playing.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, so he's not confirmed to be playing, but he is on track to be playing.
True. Yeah. And the same thing for the Texans there with Joe Mixon there.
Yeah, the only difference there is that they have a pretty good running back behind him in Cam Akers, who should be able to handle things.
True.
And of course, their wide receiver room is nothing to sneeze at either.
True. Yeah. But for me there, I'm going to take a risky pick. I'm going to go with the Texans on the road to beat the Vikings.
Yep, I'm in agreement with you on that one. I don't think that the Vikings are like fluking their way through these wins, because they've been pretty good. Mm-hmm. But I really have a good feeling about Houston this season. I think they are only going to improve from last year. Mm-hmm. And in order to do that, they have to maintain their momentum going forward. And what better way to do it than being on the road against a pretty good Minnesota team?
Exactly.
All right, next up, we have another one that is sure to be talked about a lot next week.
Sure.
The Eagles are going on the road to face the Saints, who destroyed the Eagles' rival, Dallas.
Sure.
So how do you see this game going? Because this is going to be fun.
Well, this might be the huge matchup of the week there. Just, I just hope they learn from their mistakes on Monday night there with that their play there.
The Eagles?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they have some pretty glaring issues, I think, after last week.
Yeah.
I don't know what went wrong for them.
Sure. But
their offense wasn't producing as nearly as well as I thought they should have against Atlanta, of all teams.
Sure. Yeah. And obviously, with the never count out the Saints there, like I did last week there, because Derek Carr there surprised me there, and obviously Alvin Kamara's one of the best players of last week there.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Like, he was definitely one of the standouts league-wide last year. Or not last year, last week.
Last week.
Yeah. And I really like Derek Carr. I'm so happy to see him finally kind of, like, settling in and finding his groove, because I always liked him on the Raiders. And so I was just waiting for him to find his chemistry and start clicking a little bit with New Orleans. And so now that they are honestly a pretty surprising team down in the South.
True. hats off to the coaching there to guide the way there to victories.
Yeah,
There the past couple weeks.
I was kind of not really like anti Dennis Allen, but I certainly wasn't in Dennis Allen's like corner, by no means. But apparently they got rid of Carmichael, and that was one of the big time issues on that team. So making the change there seemed to be the switch up and the difference maker. Plus, like I said, it took some time for them to settle down, maybe kick out some of the cancerous players they had that was being a bit of a problem, and then they were able to build a good environment with some good chemistry and morale, and really put everything together. So I'm excited for the Saints season. I really am.
Sure. But for me, this game's going to be a close game, in my opinion. It's going to be my specialty there.
Yeah.
The 3-pointer rule, less rule.
I can see that.
Yeah. And I'm going to go with the Saints at home to beat the Eagles.
You know what? Weirdly enough, I actually agree with you. I think it's more risky because I do think that Philadelphia on a bounce back week makes a lot of sense. But I'm gonna ride the momentum of the Saints. I'm gonna trust in Derek Carr and all of his wonderful moves. So I'm gonna trust in them. Oh boy, and then this one, this has potential to either be game of the week or dumpster fire of the week, and I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it.
Yeah.
But we have the Chargers and the Steelers.
Yeah, obviously, to me, this might be a little bit of a sleeper of the week there. It just depends on if how Harbaugh does on the road there with his team there.
Yeah. I mean, going into Pittsburgh is going to be a challenge.
True.
Especially when you've got TJ Watt to worry about.
True.
And so, like, they need to be able to run the ball effectively if you're the Chargers. And I don't really know how well that's going to happen against that defensive line.
True.
But I do trust their defense over Pittsburgh's offense, to be fair.
Yeah. And obviously with the Steelers there, Justin Fields is a huge shock there for both of us there. We were expecting him to falter in Pittsburgh, but we were dead wrong.
I mean, he wasn't bad. He did have a couple of really good throws, so I can see him progressing, which is nice because I don't hate Justin Fields. I just didn't like him because he was a Bear. Like I do wish the best for him, but when you're playing for Chicago, I kind of wish you failure. But now that he's kind of trying to find his way, and he's on a team that I actually pseudo like because of Mike Tomlin and TJ Watt, I think he has a bright future.
True. Obviously, with him picking up the ball from Russell Wilson's injury there.
Right. Now, what I will be interested in is when Russell Wilson is healthy again and he starts taking the snaps, how the team will shift. Like, what kind of offensive scheme will we be running under Russell Wilson that we can't or aren't running with Justin Fields?
True. Obviously, they might have to divide the quarterback shifts there.
That would be really, really interesting if they do that kind of thing. Like, I can kind of see them doing that, similarly to when we had Drew Brees and Taysom Hill in the Saints.
Yeah.
Where they would pull Drew Brees when it was like a third down, or when he needed a breather and Taysom Hill would run for it. I can see Justin Fields playing the Taysom Hill role in this situation.
Exactly.
I could see it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense there. But for me, this week, I'm going with another one of my specialty, another 3-pointer less game, and I'm going with the Steelers at home to beat the Chargers.
Oof, we have a second split finally.
Whoa!
I'm trusting the Chargers on the road. I'm trusting that it's going to be a defensive battle. And I'm trusting the Chargers offense to be better than the Steelers offense. Because again, like, I don't hate Justin Fields by any means, but I do think that compared to the offense of the Chargers, I do think that his is less productive. So, I mean, look, if I'm wrong, then I went against my whole strategy of in what we trust, and I will be mad at myself, and I will apologize later. But
Okay. Be
for
your
right now,
regret of the week next week.
yeah. If the Steelers win somehow without scoring a touchdown again, I will have it be a regret because I didn't trust in Watt. Alright, next up, this one should be a no-brainer, but we never know. We have the Broncos going to the Bucks.
Yeah, this one's a no-brainer there. I don't know what's wrong with Bo Nix there this season there.
He's kind of living up to the nickname of Bo Picks, and as much as I hate, laughing at these kinds of things, it was so funny. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen, but he was asked about it. People asked him to break down the interception that he threw in the end zone. Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, I dropped back and I threw it to the other team. Yeah. Like, that is literally the definition of an interception in the end zone. So, good for you. I appreciate your honesty and your very literal nature. That was very funny. Mm-hmm. I loved that.
Yeah. But for me, this one's a no-brainer there. We're both going to rely on Baker Mayfield to light it up against the Broncos there.
Yeah, it is so funny that Baker Mayfield is currently in MVP talks from the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's he's definitely playing well. I just didn't really expect things to go that way or go that well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I think Broncos have a lot of things to figure out.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of having some things to figure out, we have the Panthers now, who have benched Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Are starting Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
And according to reports, have reached out to Cam Newton to come back.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so they have no idea what they're doing at the QB position. And according to reports, I also heard there is a rumor that they might be trading Adam Thielen. So, really? Yeah, so they might very well just be banking on trying to get some draft picks for next year.
Yeah.
And try to rebuild what they gave Chicago in the very foolish decision.
True.
But anyway, they will be going to Vegas to take on the red-hot defense of the Raiders.
Yeah, obviously, we were both shocked there about the Raiders there last week. They beat the Baltimore Ravens out of all teams there.
Me too. 26-23. I was watching it on the Sleeper fantasy site. Mm-hmm. I was watching the text of it go by, and I'm like, no freaking way you guys just kicked a game-winning field goal, and then no freaking way Baltimore is failing to go down there.
Sure.
On the final play, when Lamar Jackson got loose and ripped a 53-yard run, he chose to lateral behind him for no reason instead of just juking a defender. Had he juked that defender successfully, he very well may have scored, and the Ravens would have won that game.
True. But this one is obviously going to be a no-brainer for us. I imagine we'll both be taking the Raiders at home.
Yeah, I just think even if they've upgraded the QB position, Carolina doesn't really have a whole lot else going for it.
True.
So, unfortunately, I think Carolina is looking ahead to future seasons rather than this one.
Sure.
All right, and then next up, we might have some more things to talk about here. We have Miami going to Seattle.
Yeah, obviously with the Dolphins there, the big story is life without Tua there after suffering another concussion on Thursday night there.
Yeah, it was, watching Tua play has kind of become scary.
Yeah.
Because you never really know how it's going to go.
True.
And also the fact that the person who delivered the hit that gave him that concussion was Damar Hamlin is just like the icing on the cake of scary incidents to have happening.
True.
Tua seriously has to talk with his family and start considering what he wants to do going forward, because this is it's getting to the point where it's kind of dangerous to be on the field, in my opinion.
Sure.
And it's going to be hard for him because this is all he knows and what he loves, and I get it, but you have to start taking your health into account as well.
Exactly. Yeah, but obviously with the Dolphins, they gotta be searching for another quarterback there, because their starter right now is pretty much an unknown there, and I've already hearing rumors there they might be in contact with Ryan Tannehill there to be their quarterback.
Yeah, I did see a rumor about that. They are, in my research, they are going to be starting Skylar Thompson, who, if I recall, I have seen play a couple of snaps or a couple of games or something when there was another injury. I don't think that he's horrible.
Yeah.
There was another rumor, though, about who they were going to start, and now I can't find it or remember who it was. But if they bring in Ryan Tannehill in the future, then that could be a good decision for them. But right now they are going to go with Skylar Thompson. And then over on Seattle's side, they squeaked one out last week against New England, which was very good. It's unfortunate that it took them into overtime to do it, but it was a hard-fought win.
True.
So they are looking to go 3-0 if they can beat Miami.
That's a tiny bit of a shock there, but I think it can be done there, and I'm taking Seattle at home to beat Miami.
Yep, I am in agreement with you on that one. Honestly, it is simply because of the unknown QB position. I'm not going to hate on Skylar Thompson, but I think that you're immediately kind of dropping production when you lose somebody like Tua. And that's going to be in the back of their mind with how he went out. So, maybe they're going to play to kind of like avenge him in a way. But, I think this could easily go either way, but I am in agreement, and I'm taking Seattle as well. They're at home. I think it's going to be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins win. But, yeah, so we agree again.
Okay.
Next up, we have Baltimore and Dallas.
Yeah. Obviously, two teams coming off huge losses, as we discussed earlier, with the Ravens losing to of all teams, the Vegas Raiders.
Yep. And then they're always embarrassing. Yeah. But the Cowboys getting embarrassed at home to the Saints. So both of these teams really honestly just need a win.
True. Obviously, with the Ravens there, they don't want to go down 0-3 there, and that could mean them missing the playoffs there.
Right, which would be very bad news for me, having them be my AFC representation.
True.
For the Super Bowl that I chose in week 1, instead of trusting everything else in me screaming for the Chiefs. So, yeah, hopefully they can, because if they lose and they go 0-3 to start the season, it's going to be an uphill battle. And, I mean, I don't doubt that they can do it. It's just going to be very, very difficult.
True. And obviously, with the Cowboys there, Dak needs a bounce-back game there after that huge loss against the Saints there.
Yeah, both of these teams need a pretty good bounce-back. My thing is, if Dallas can't handle Alvin Kamara and Derek Carr, how are they going to handle Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and the other weapons that they have kind of running all over them? So I think this is going to be very, very interesting to watch for both fan bases and on both sides. And honestly, I'm just looking forward to it in general. I think it's going to be a fun, hard game.
True. But for me, I feel the team that will bounce back and win will be the Dallas Cowboys. That's my pick there. And so sorry, Ravens, but I think you're going down for the third time.
Unfortunately, I do agree with you. I think the team that needs the bounce back the most is Baltimore, but I'm leaning towards the home team here on Dallas because I can't really see them getting embarrassed 2 weeks in a row.
True.
But I also would not be at all surprised if the Ravens win this one. I think that they need the win more, but for the safe pick, I'm taking Dallas. Alright, and then next up we have the battered and bruised Rams who are just falling apart at the seams.
True.
Hosting division rival San Francisco.
True. Obviously, with the Rams not only losing Puka, they now lost Cooper Kupp now.
Yeah, so it is going to be incredibly interesting to see how the Rams function with as stripped away as they are.
True. And obviously, with the Niners there, they need a bounce back game there after that huge loss in Minnesota there.
They got so embarrassed. They got embarrassed by the Vikings and their former backup QB that I think they're going to be mad. And I honestly feel bad for the Rams because the Rams are not physically equipped to handle an angry 49ers team.
True.
And so I think, obvious is obvious. I'm taking San Francisco. I'm trusting my boy. So
100% agree there.
Yeah. All right, and then next up we have the Lions going to Arizona looking for a bounce back game of their own when they take on the Cardinals.
True. Obviously, that's going to be a tough team there to play there with the Cardinals. They're obviously Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. are really lighting it up there.
Yeah, they finally kind of found their groove, which I'm very happy with because I believe last week during our video for week 2, I said that they need to get Marvin Harrison Jr. more involved and they need to pin down their chemistry a little bit because when he's wide open and Kyler Murray just doesn't see him or doesn't throw to him or something, it was kind of disturbing.
And obviously the Lions there, they were shocked by, of all teams, Tampa there.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to discount Tampa and what they did. Tampa's a tough team. They were a playoff team last year, likely going to be a playoff team this year as well. So, the Lions faced 2 playoff teams in back-to-back weeks, and they split them. It's just it's how it goes. I'm not worried. It's only week 2. Defensively, Detroit was fine. Aiden Hutchinson has more sacks than teams have sacks. So I'm very happy to see his production. The secondary is decent. Alex Anzalone is always good. The offense is kind of where there's a little bit of a struggle. I think Jared Goff has kind of seemed off a little bit for the first 2 weeks. They haven't been getting Laporta the ball. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been not that great, and then he also injured his calf last week, so we don't know if he's going to be 100% for the game. He's still slated to play, I think, but he's not going to be at his best, which hopefully means we can get Sam Laporta involved, get Gibbs involved in the flat, and really open the offense up a little bit more. But I do agree with you. I think this is going to be a very hard game for them to win.
Yeah.
Arizona is kind of surprising me this season.
Yeah, exactly. For me, they're I know you're going to get mad at me for saying this, but I expect the Arizona Cardinals to romp all over the Detroit Lions.
I would not be surprised if they do win this one, and that we're going to come away disappointed again. But I'm not backing down. I'm not going to stop believing in my team. So I am taking Detroit in this one.
So we have our third split.
We do. But also, one quick little point I would like to make for the One Pride faithful here. There was a report that came out not too long ago that Dan Campbell and his family are moving from their home near Detroit because of security concerns. Because, quote, they found where we lived after we lost.
Okay.
So some wonderful fans, very passionate fans, found out where Dan Campbell lived and made it their problem. And I think that is such a breach of privacy that he shouldn't have to worry about when he goes home. He does a job, and then he goes home. And they are making the rest of us look really bad.
Sure.
Because we were supposed to be one of the most passionate fan bases. Detroit versus everybody and one pride, and we were getting arrogant, right? We were kind of reaching cowboy level status, and now they're just attacking each other. There was violence at a tailgate post the game. There's fans going to Dan Campbell's house, and it's not a good look, and they need to stop making the rest of us look bad.
Sure.
So they need to grow up.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we have our third split. I don't expect this one to be a split though. We have the Chiefs and Atlanta.
Sunday night game of the week there.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yep.
Yeah. Both teams coming off huge close wins there.
Yeah. Some controversial. Actually, both are fairly controversial. Just one was controversial from the refs, and one was controversial from a coaching decision.
Sure. Yeah. This one might be a close game in my opinion there, because never count out Kirk Cousins and the Falcons there, but obviously with the Chiefs there, with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce there.
Yeah. Last I heard anything out of Kansas City, though, they were bringing back Kareem Hunt to be the running back after Pacheco got injured.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're going to kind of be beefing up their run game a little bit, just to kind of shore that up.
They need to intensify it there to take on a better team there.
Yeah.
For me, there, this obviously I'm going to go with another one of my specials, the 3-pointer less rule.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs on the road to beat the Falcons.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I'm going with the Chiefs as well. I would like to see their run game get involved a little bit more and take some of the pressure off of Mahomes, because he seems like, he's always got to do things on his own, and it's kind of hard to watch sometimes. So the run game, get involved more often. The defense, do what they've been doing. They've been pretty decent. And then I would love to see Xavier Worthy pop off again. But also, I'm with you. I will not discount Kirk Timber coming into play.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
The question is, how many times on NBC will we get to see Taylor Swift in the crowd?
Oh, God. Higher or lower? The odds are probably, I'm going to say 10. Just a nice round number.
Yeah.
I think 10 is the line to play. I'll say lower than 10, but I wouldn't be surprised if it hits double digits, just because, it's prime time, so you really want to hone in on that. But as far as the field goes, I'm taking Kansas City over Atlanta, but I agree with you. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
All right, next we have the first Monday game with Jacksonville and Buffalo.
Yeah, obviously with the Jags, their question is, what is the problem with Trevor Lawrence there?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what's wrong with Jacksonville, period.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really follow them nearly as much as I should, considering, what we do every week, but I don't know. I will say I'm kind of surprised with Buffalo, because I thought with them losing as many weapons as they did and kind of getting stripped apart, that they were going to struggle. But they've actually been doing fairly well for themselves.
Yeah. Obviously never count out Josh Allen with that team.
Yeah, I agree.
So obviously he can help new wide receivers there find their place there and get the scoring he needs there.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I think against a team like Jacksonville, I think more of the same is just going to keep happening with the Bills, and I'm taking them to win at home.
100% agree.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't really see a whole lot going on for Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, and then the last game of the week, we have the Salty Bengals hosting the Commanders.
Yeah. Obviously, with the Commanders, this past Sunday, their kicker was the big star, kicking 7 field goals in one game.
What a turn of events. They went from having a horrible kicker to having the kicker be the whole reason that they won.
Yeah.
It is so weird.
Touchdowns.
Yeah. Exactly. It was such, like, the tale of 2 weeks, right? Because it was completely opposite.
Yeah. But bear in mind, it was against the Giants there.
Yeah. That is true. And honestly, that's kind of concerning that they won with only field goals when they were facing a team like the Giants.
Yeah.
So, like, they should have been able to actually score.
Yeah.
And I think facing a team who is going to be mad, very, very mad, it's not a good outcome for you.
Yeah. And obviously, going into Cincinnati to take on a tough team there, hopefully Joe Burrow can turn around this game after a huge loss against the Chiefs there. And I expect some firepower out of him there, him and his offense there.
Yeah. Yeah, I expect it as well. Although, like, selfishly, I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't come from Chase. I think that he needs to kind of learn from an example and maybe not get his catches this week because of, almost costing your team the game. So, I do fully expect the Bengals to come out firing, though. And I do like Joe Burrow, especially this season. I think his look is interesting, and I'm here for it.
So that's how we think it's now time to find out what our friends pick.
Yep, indeed it is. So, first up from the rest of our contestants, we have John, who took the Jets, the Browns, the Saints because they're at home, Texans, Bucks, and Titans because they're at home, the Colts, the Steelers, the Seahawks, Raiders, Niners, Lions, Cowboys for the home field advantage, Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals. And then we have SDS with the Jets, Browns, Eagles, Vikings, Bucks, Packers, Colts, Chargers, Seahawks, and Panthers, saying that Bryce Young was the problem, Andy Dalton redemption arc incoming. 49ers, Lions, Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals. And then next we have Troll, who took the Patriots, Saints, Titans, Giants, Vikings, Broncos, Colts, Steelers, Dolphins on the road, Panthers, Rams, Cardinals, Cowboys, Chiefs, Jaguars, and Commanders. So, Upset City. We shall see how you do. And then we have Buff, who took the Miami Dolphins, Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers, Chicago Bears, New England Patriots, Las Vegas Raiders, Buffalo Bills, New York Giants, Denver Broncos, Green Bay Packers, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cincinnati Bengals, Arizona Cardinals, his Minnesota Vikings, and the Kansas City Chiefs. And then next, we have Papa Agron, who took the Jets over the Patriots, Browns over the Giants, Saints over the Eagles in a spoiler alert, Texans over Vikings, Bucks over Broncos, Packers over Titans, Colts over Bears, Steelers over the Chargers, Seahawks over Dolphins, Panthers over the Raiders with even more hot takes, 49ers over the Rams, Cardinals over Lions, saying, why just 2 spoilers? Cowboys over the Ravens. You can bet your sweet little heart I'm not gonna back off of this one. Chiefs over Falcons, Bills over Jaguars, and Bengals over Commanders. And next we have Beers. Jets, Ravens, Bucks, Steelers. Texans, Eagles, Packers, Browns. Bears, Seahawks, Raiders, 49ers, Cardinals, Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals. Followed by Rev, who took the Patriots, Browns, Packers, Colts, saying Caleb is not, in fact, that guy, pal. Waste of a first pick overall, so far. Chargers, Texans, Saints, Bucks, Raiders, Seahawks. The Ravens, do I need to continuously repeat myself? F the Cowboys. 49ers, Lions, Chiefs. Sorry, that was a really weird sneeze. Bills, Bengals would be hilarious if they lost, though. Yeah, somebody else has allergies too, apparently. Oof. And then we have Savage Owl, who took the Jets, Browns, Bears, Vikings, Eagles, Steelers, Bucks, and Packers. Raiders, Seahawks, Lions, Cowboys, 49ers, Chiefs, Bills, and Commanders, because again, if there's a W on the logo, they must win, right? That seems to be the running theme of his picks, and honestly, I'm here for it. And then finally we have Draz, who took the Jets, the Browns, the Saints, Texans, Bucks, Packers, Colts, and Chargers, Seahawks, Raiders, 49ers, Cardinals over my Lions, Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals. Also, he took the Bucks over the Lions last week and actually managed to get the win out of it, so kudos for you. Very well done. And there we have week 3 in the books.
Only 3 splits between us.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that, so I don't have to be super concerned that you're going to destroy me this week. And honestly, I think that the splits we have are reasonable. They could go either way.
True.
So I'm very intrigued with how this week is going to go. I'm terrified for it because most of these games could go either way. So,
exactly. Obviously, to all our fantasy players, good luck this week. Hopefully, you did better in that than you did with your picks there.
Yes, honestly, I tweeted recently that my pickems went absolutely horribly for week 2. But at least one of my fantasy teams didn't get completely embarrassed. So I guess we'll take the good with the bad.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, fantasy football has been really interesting this week, or this season so far, just because of all of the injuries, because it's been rough. Yeah, exactly. It has been very, very rough. So,
like I say, take some insurance in case some of your big name players get injured there.
Yeah, I recently claimed the wide receiver for the Rams off of waivers just in case I needed to start him, because they don't have anybody else at this point. So I figure he's going to start getting his touches. So we're hoping for the best on that. But thank you all for joining me. Thank you, Steve, as always, for being here.
Not a problem there. And obviously, to all our fans there, hit the like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell for all of our future videos on here.
Yep, exactly. Every Thursday at noon Eastern, we will be having a new NFL video coming out for you guys. And also, huge thanks to the members of the channel, Richard, Sandra, and George.
Sure.
For this one, thanks again for joining me. Check out the links down below for the usual stuff. Let us know in the comments what you guys think of this series. And we'll catch you guys down the road for week 4.
Thank you all. See you next week.